Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the shop. Let's get back to work on the Fokker D.VII. Now before we begin, what I have, and you can see that top wing is sitting on top of the fuselage. A couple little things. The first one is I did some searching to figure out where the leads go from the servos down into the fuselage. Of course, you can look at the plans. The plans show that they've got these little wedges cut out, little triangular pieces with a hole through that you can drop the leads through. But where does it go into the fuselage? And it's very difficult to find it in the instructions, but there's one little spot that pretty much says you're on your own. They offer you that spot, but you can do whatever you want. So what I'm going to show you I want to do, and where it's going to go in, I think is going to be, it's definitely going to be a better look than two wires just dangling down going into the fuselage, because I want something that's going to look a little bit tighter than that. So let me go ahead, get you guys off the stand and show you what I'm going to do. As y'all can see, I've got the little drum sanders. And there you go, top and bottom for front and back. That's just how everything is being held temporarily into place. Pull them out, that way I didn't have to find the fasteners that hold this top wing on, because I have no idea what I did with them. And that will never be part of a video with me frantically searching to where the heck I put them. So what I'm going to do is they wanted you to put, and I believe it was up in this bay right here, little triangular pieces with a hole drilled through so you could just drop them straight down on top of the fuselage. And I really didn't want to do that, just for the main reason that, you know, if this is where the control lines or control wires came up to run or to operate the ailerons, probably through bell cranks, on a real plane is fine. But the thing is I didn't want to have the servo leads just hanging down, just dangling down there, because it wasn't gonna look good enough, and I wasn't gonna be happy with it. So I figured this will probably be the best bet. What I'm gonna do, let me see if I can sneak my hand in this way. Here we go. We're gonna be putting a hole in right about here, and the reason why I want to put it right there is, let me get you down low, and hopefully we're not going to have a problem with focus, because I'm sure we probably will. Let me get my hand involved. There we go. I wanted to bring it through here. Let me get you around front. I want to bring it in, so I'm going to drop it through a hole right about here. And then it's going to come down on top of this cabane strut, and this is going to be coming into the fuselage here all the way down. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to have about a 1/4 inch hole right through here, so that way we're not gonna compromise the little cross beam that this is going to get glued into, or I can just leave it so it's just a press fit. Haven't decided yet, but it'll probably be right behind it, so we're not going to compromise it, and that'll be probably a 1/4 inch hole, and I'll go in, drill the hole out small, and then get the reamer and expand that out to the size I want. And it'll probably come through here. So up in here there'll be a couple, probably little zip ties, wire ties, however I want to do it. We're just going to hold that up on the top this cabane strut. So hopefully everything will work out very nicely, and then it'll be dropped down inside the fuselage, and we can go ahead and just get it hooked into the system. So that was kind of my last remaining issue I needed to address before we start covering, because I've got to go ahead and put the string through that's going to be attachment from here over to here, and then all I need to do is, once it's all covered, just get the piece of piano wire heated up, open up the hole on this end so I can go ahead, reach up, grab the string, pull it down through, and then so when it comes time to put the servo in, just pull it through, pull it out, and everything should be good. So let me go ahead, get the bench cleaned up, get the wing back on the bench, and let's get back to covering. All right, we got the top wing sitting on a bench, and because there's no center section that's sheeted, we got to go full length from left to right. So it's going to be a little more interesting because I like to have a break in the middle. So it just means that while we're pulling the fabric, I have to make sure that everything is as precise as I can get it. And that's going to be the fun part. Now the scissors, I kind of probably went over the scissors once or 12 times. Make sure they're sharp. I just came in and just sharpened these up, and what I've got, and it's not a product pitch. I use Easy Lap. It's got 1200 on one side, 400 on the other. That's how I do pretty much all the blades. I do it everything from my regular knives, pocket knives, all the way on up to my chisels and the planes. Not those planes, the wood planes. So it works very nicely, and it works really good on a pair of scissors. Now the scissors, I'm not going to get too extreme with it. I've said in the past, once these things are sharp, don't drop them. Because if you drop them, don't try to catch them. They will slice you. This is very sharp. Is it sharp enough to go ahead and shave? Possible. So I'll try it on my arm and hopefully not make a mess out of myself. It's going to be kind of hard for you to see, but we'll see. Hopefully you can. You see the hair all over it? And that's for my arm. So it is sharp enough to shave. And I got a little bald spot right here on my arm now. So that's how sharp you got to have scissors when you're cutting fabrics. Let me go ahead, stand up, go on the other end of the wing. We'll see if I can cut the fabric without falling down. It's a very, very tight little situation over here, but let's see what we can do and get it started. I'm cutting about 3 inches longer than necessary, just to give myself a little bit of an oops factor, just in case I screwed up. And, you know, didn't line everything up properly. Now what I am doing with this is I'm not cutting it, I'm literally just sliding it through. This is how sharp it is. See if I can hold it so you can get a good idea. As you can see, I'm not making any movements with my hand at all. That's how sharp the knife is, and that's how sharp you want it. You go ahead and jump to the middle, and I should be able to, in theory, switch hands because I'm not actually compressing on the scissors. Okay, and that should be good. I'm not going to bother folding this at the moment. I'm just going to place it off to the side. And it sounds like my better half's home, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I'll bring it right back. Now that I've got it cut, let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is, because you can't see that end because it's way over there, I'm going to start on that wingtip. And I'm going to set it up just the way that I'd normally try to do it, because the way the fabric is, once again, I've got it so that the strongest direction where it doesn't want to flex is lengthwise. It's when you pull it widthwise. Widthwise? Yeah, sure, widthwise. Pull it like this, it's going to want to bubble up or pucker up. Whereas if I pull it lengthwise, it doesn't. That's what they call the weave. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start on the one side of the wing, which is on the right hand side right now. It's actually the bottom of the left side of the wing. I'm going to start there and get a little patch just kind of glued down the best I can. It's not going to be big, just a little patch. And then I'm going to come down, go down to the other end and do the same thing. Once I get it where I feel that it's pretty much the proper, so that the weave is as true to center line going down the wing as possible. Not center of the wing this way, center of the wing that way, lengthwise. So and once I get that to where I'm pretty confident that that's going to be good, that's where we're going to start. And then it's just going to be a matter of starting to tack certain areas, which is where it's gonna, I mean, it can go from bad to worse real quick. So let me go ahead, get that stuff taken care of, show you where I'm at, and then let's see where we want to go from there. All right, I've got the far end already tacked. This is a halfway point right down the middle of the wing. So this is starting to tack up. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to stretch my way all the way down to the end down here. Let me put the brush down. I'm going to go ahead and pull this, and I'm watching the fabric and seeing how it tightens to make sure that I've got it where I'm pulling it right where I want to pull it. So that way I'm trying to keep the weave from making an S-turn. I'm just trying to keep it as straight as I can. And right now that's looking pretty good right there. So let me go ahead and get a little bit of nitrate dope and let's lock it in down here. All right, and there we go. Then what I'll do is I'll come in and get this not super tight, just get it a little bit tight. I want to put a small little dot, something if I have to lift it, I can. You can come in with just a little bit of nitrate dope and thin it out with a couple drops and just go ahead and lift it back up if you have to. But what I want to do is I just want to pull a section down here so we can get something where you can almost come in and put a little bit of nitrate dope on the stringers, which I really don't want to do. I just want to do the outside. So we'll do the whole outside, and then when we shrink the inside, we should be able to get everything, to get all the wrinkles out, and then we'll be coming back when it comes time to, technically, because the bottom wing is just, it's still bare fabric. I haven't started to use nitrate dope to go ahead and seal the wood, to go ahead and seal the fabric and attach it to the wood. So, and that's gonna come when I'm getting ready to do the fuselage as well. So I'll be sitting here, you know, spending a whole day with, I gotta get another gallon of nitrate dope, cut it, and then I'll probably be spending the whole day just trying to get 2 or 3 coats on the fabric, because it takes probably about 45 minutes. I'm going to say about 45 minutes to an hour to get like the top wing done the first time through. The bottom wing be a little bit less than that, and the fuselage will probably be a little less than that, but it's that first coat that you need to make sure you do a good enough job covering it, but don't put too much on. So it sucks up a lot of dope. Not that kind of dope. All right, so I've got this pretty much taken care of across the front, and I'm happy with it. If I wish, I can come in and tack down a little bit more, but I still think I'm going to put a dot right here, just because I don't want this really moving too much. I want to put just a little bit of tension in line with the center. Not a lot, just a little. All right, so anyway, you kind of see what I'm starting here. Let me go ahead and get a little bit farther down the line, and I'll bring it back and show you where we're at. All right, you kind of see where I'm at right now. So let me just go ahead. I'll get this even, you know, about 90% of the way done, and I'll bring it back just to see what it looks like, and you know, if I'm actually battling with something or it's just progressing along very nicely. You guys remember when I said I was going to bring you back when I was about 90% done with the covering? Well, I lied. It's 100% done. So what I have to do next, well, let me just back up. The reason why I didn't bring it back, I had a place to go today. So, of course, because it's Mother's Day over here in the United States of America. And so I had family stuff I had to go jump in and take care of. So I just went ahead, finished this off real quick, hit the road, and now I'm back. And this is later on in the afternoon. It's a little after 4 o'clock. So what I have to do before I start doing the top, let me go ahead and zoom you in. The zoom in sound. Boop. All right, this part here, as you can see, it's not covered. And how I was doing on the, yeah, we can see it pretty good enough on this side. Let's do it on this side. As I was doing back here on the scallops, where I'm cutting it and then folding it over so it's laying flat on the top, they're kind of splayed out like this. So, but that works okay here. If I was going to do it here, all of a sudden you're going to have bigger pieces and they're going to be splayed wider apart. So it was just going to look plain ugly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on in, and I have a little bit of stuff that's still here, a little fabric that still can either be cut off or just slit a little bit. I'll come in with the razor blade, do some little micro cuts on it. Go ahead, we'll tack this down, and then I'll get a strip of fabric, put it over here, glue it down, and then we'll trim it off closer to the top and hopefully not hacking up this bottom edge. So I just want to get it so it very lightly overlays on it without having to slit it. So when it comes time to do the top, let's see how well I can go ahead and get it so that when it comes over the top, it's going to blend down and lay flat and not be cut. So that's going to be the fun part when we do the top. Okay, with the bottom done, it's time to flip it on over. I'm going to start covering the top. I'm going to take you off the stand to show you the couple little things I did just in the final preparation of the top wing. Little teeny things that I knew I was going to have to address, so I'll show you what I did. All right, what I had to do, I came in, the original builder, I had the rib cap standing proud, and that was how I had them on here, knowing that I was going to have to go ahead and sand these things down so it just blended into, let's just call it the hinge line of the ailerons. So this was all taken care of, several coats of nitrate dope, and it's all sanded nice and smooth. So that was taken care of. And this part here, I went ahead and yeah, it came out nicer than I thought it was going to. The bottom part came overlapped a little bit. I put this strip on and then went ahead and up on the top, you can't see it, I came in with a razor blade and made some very fine little relief cuts all the way around it, and then did the same thing on the bottom and had a very nice overlap going up on the top. So it comes up to about here. So when I cover the top, I'm going to do the same thing with it going down. I came in, I put the poly tack all along the trailing edge, so when I pull the fabric over the top, I use the iron and go ahead and then stick it right down to the poly tack. So just like everything else, you know, rinse and repeat. So let's get back to work. If you're wondering why it's taking a little bit longer to get this top wing done than the bottom wing, errors. Yeah, I'm part of the errors too. What I did was a short time ago, for you guys it was probably, well, a couple seconds ago. For me it's a day ago. Here's the issue. I started covering the wing. Let me take you off the stand and I'll show you where everything went wrong. All right, the problem I was going to have, and I kind of knew it was going to be a slight little problem, but I decided to proceed forward. Yeah, it was this little step down, on how that little step down was going to get transitioned from the way it was originally built, with putting the covering on and not having a gap, because that was just going to be a really ugly corner, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. So I went in and looked at the pictures in the manual, and you can't tell. So, well, it's the smartest thing I should have done before I even started sanding these things down to the height I wanted them at. I should have went and dug deep into the plans right there. A little bit hard to read, but that's the whole thing with plans. If you want to build a plane, spend about 3 hours looking at the plans before you get started. So my judgment call on sanding these things down was wrong. So I had the fabric already tacked down on this rib, the whole little center section here, tied into just a little piece of these rib caps, and the same thing down on that end. So at least I was able to come in with some just regular lacquer thinner thin it down because it was just lightly tacked and lifted up. And you can see on the fabric, hopefully you can see, just a little bit. So, and that will be fine, because when I go ahead and use nitrate dope to stick it back down, it's good. I didn't stretch it either. So what I'm gonna do, and this is where it's gonna take time, I'm gonna go ahead, put a cap over the edge where it should have been done from the beginning. The original builder pulled these things up on the top of this, and that was just wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and put pretty much it's not even a rib cap, it's thicker than a rib cap, but I need that space. So I'm gonna do this so I can step up to the height of the rib cap over here, and then I'm gonna have to come in, cut the ribs off here on the rear spar. Go ahead, remove these little teeny pieces of rib cap, and then it's got to put a new piece coming in to butt up against this piece right here. So this is where it's going to get really strange, but it is doable. So this is probably going to set me back several hours, and this is the part of the building. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do it all off camera, so that way we can go ahead and finish covering this wing. So I will bring you guys back just to take a look and see how well it's going to look once it's done covering. My only issue is, because I may keep this a little bit shallow and taper it down. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this, because I've already set the hinge, drilled for the hinges. So I'm going to go ahead on the ailerons, get the little heat wire, go ahead. This is where it's going to get strange really fast. I need to make sure that the ailerons are going to sit at the proper height. That's going to be the fun part. Oh, happy joy. Don't know if you can see the clock on the wall. 10:42 a.m. I started doing this at approximately 8 a.m. So it's a little over 2.5 hours. But it's ready to go ahead and properly get the top of the wing covered. So let me go ahead and get you off the stand and show you how everything is at least the way it should have been done in the beginning. From the right wingtip all the way down to the left wingtip, we're all good to go. I came in, and of course, like I said, I had to do a lot of stuff. So came through across right on the rear spar. I cut the rib caps off all the way across. Came on in, scraped everything down with a little teeny chisel, very sharp. Came in, got everything down to where it needed to be. Then I went ahead and ripped out a piece of, luckily I had some already cut stock. So I went ahead, made the riser for the back part, so we're coming up, and I got it set up so it's not perfectly with this pretty much rib cap, because I was going to have to go ahead. I just decided to leave it the way it was. A little bit of a step down, so it shows that you're stepping down off this rib cap onto this trailing edge. Let's just call it the aileron hinge. I'm okay with that, and I just replicated that down there on that side too, so when you'll see one side, the other side, they look identical. So came in, cut new pieces, dropped them down so that they were flush right on the edge, and you can see I made little teeny marks on where the rib cap was supposed to end on each side, and just adjusted accordingly. So everything is straight and true, rock solid on that side and on that side. So let's go ahead, let's get back to work on putting that white stuff back on the top of the wing. All right, right there behind me, it's done. Top wing is covered. Another hurdle of many has been leaped. Now, it's onto that thing over there. And the tail is done. I had to put those little wedges in, sanded everything down, filled them up just to make sure everything's good to go. So, we just got to figure out where we're going to start. Typically, fuselage is bottom first, top last. So, we're going to go ahead, we're going to call this part of the video done. And I will see you guys next time. I'm back in the shop.